In tonight's headlines, the Elections and Boundaries Department prepares for re-registration. NEMO is making sure everything is in place for this year's hurricane season, and Belize hosts a seminar on patents. These stories and more on this week's edition of Belize Now. Thanks for joining us on this Friday, June 8th, 2018. I am Erin Guzman. On July 1st, Belize will undergo a re-registration of voters. This is a process that must take place every 20 years with its main objective to clean the existing list and to ensure that everyone on it is qualified to participate in future elections. Janelle Rodriguez tells us more.
Starting July 1st, every Belizean must register again in order to exercise their rights to vote. This re-registration process is necessary to update the voters' list among several other reasons. Douglas Singh, chairman of the Elections and Boundaries Department, and Josephine Tamai, the chief elections officer, told us why it is important that Belizeans re-register.
The re-registration says that you have exercised your right to register so that you can exercise your right to vote. And it means at any general elections, municipal elections, you will need to be on a voter's list to be able to vote.
It is a process whereby all persons, those who are presently registered and those who have turned 18, are a Belizean and are qualified to become an elector, are to go into our election and boundaries registration centers to get re-registered or registered.
And what are the requirements for the re-registration process?
You will have to prove that you are a Belizean. And how do you prove that you're a Belizean? Either via a birth certificate and a photo ID, any form of photo ID that proves that you are that person on that birth certificate, or a passport. A social security card is not evidence that you're a Belizean, because you could have a social security card and not be a Belizean. You could be a temporary worker, you could be somebody on a work permit environment where you must get a card, and the only people who can vote in our general elections and who can vote in a referendum are born or naturalized Belizeans.
For persons who don't have a picture ID, we want to ask those persons to ensure that you bring in a photograph to us. And that photograph must be certified by a justice of the peace and stamped to say that is a true likeness of that person. So again, all persons are required to come along with a photo identification.
Singh mentioned that the Elections and Boundaries Department will make every effort to make the process convenient to Belizeans.
There will be probably 150 or more re-registration stations that will be throughout the country in different constituencies, and that's to make it convenient so that people don't have to travel long distances to re-register. They can actually do so at what might likely be the polling station that they generally vote.
He also emphasized that without being re-registered, one cannot vote in an election. Therefore, all registered and eligible persons are encouraged to participate in the exercise.
Once the Governor General issues that commencement order, the new list becomes the valid list. And the old list goes away, which means that if you voted at the last election and you did not re-register, you are not on that list and you cannot participate in any subsequent elections or referendum. We urge people during the summer months, when you have time, when the kids are out of school, to go out and get registered.
Re-register. Your right to vote depends on it. For Belize Now, I am Janelle Rodriguez.
On May 25th, Alberto, the first subtropical storm, formed just a week shy of the official June 1st opening of the 2018 hurricane season. The National Emergency Management Organization also gathered for its State of Readiness meeting in preparation of the months ahead. Here's more.
June to November, junio a noviembre. It's our daily reminder that the 2018 hurricane season has officially opened, and a time of heightened alert for the National Emergency Management Organization NEMO, the organization tasked with all coordination and logistics during this time. On Friday, June 1st, coordinators from across the country and NEMO support staff gathered at the headquarters in Belmopan for NEMO's State of Readiness meeting. We spoke with NEMO's National Emergency Coordinator, retired Colonel Shelton DeFore, who briefed us on the purpose of the meeting.
For us to check our resources, to identify what we have in place, what challenges we may have, because without doubt there will be some challenges, and to see how the coordinators across the country have been preparing. Because throughout the day, they will be informing us about their situation, what their needs are, and how they're going to approach the 2018 hurricane season. We're doing more committee coordinating training and meetings, whereby several committees are meeting together, so the left hand know what the right hand is doing, and I think that is key in these types of situations that we could be faced with.
Though we are reminded of the do's and don'ts of the hurricane season, year in and year out, their importance can never be overstated.
First of all, you need to have your emergency plan, your family plan, and you need to know what you will do in the event of a major storm, or for that case, minor storm. You know, it could be a category 1 or a category 4 or 5. It doesn't really matter. You need to have a family emergency plan, know which shelter you'll go to, know that you have to stock up on certain things, especially things like your medication. You have to secure your personal documents and things like that. You have to look out for your family, look out for your neighbor, ensure that you move early. Don't wait for last minute. It's critical that people who know that they're in a high-risk, vulnerable situation move to safety as quick as possible. Heed the warning, listen to what we are saying, because we are not doing this for drama and for movie-making purpose. We are doing this to save lives.
And what about what social media says?
I think a lot of people look to social media, and sometimes the analysis being done by those persons putting out the information is not necessarily in sync with what the National Met Service or the National Hurricane Center is saying. So people need to be very careful. You want people to be as connected to NEMO and the National Met Service as possible to ensure that you're getting the right and accurate information. We have our website, we have our Facebook page, our hotline is 936. So there are many ways, and then we'll be releasing the numbers for the district coordinators across the country to ensure that we have direct communication and contact with the people and the media, etc.
And as it relates to the release of employees, well, the national coordinator says that saving lives is priority.
Employers are being urged by NEMO to ensure that the priority is the safety of human life in this country, and you ought to participate in that process with NEMO and send your employees to their homes or to a place of safety. The Labour Act is something that we'll have to look at closely with the Labour Commissioner to determine what exactly are in there for the safety of employees, whereby employers must or should release those persons, particularly the ones that live in vulnerable areas, live far away from where they're employed, and need to seek safety or shelter and to go and look after their families, etc. And NEMO will always support that, and whatever we need to do legally, if necessary, we will do to ensure that the lives of our citizens are protected, because the mission of NEMO is to save lives and protect property.
For Belize Now, I am Janelle Mencias.
In a press release also issued on June 1st, the National Meteorological Service of Belize stated, quote, "The seasonal hurricane forecast for 2018 issued by several agencies are suggesting that tropical cyclone activity will be normal to slightly above normal in the Atlantic Basin this year. The consensus among these agencies is for there to be about 12 to 14 named storms. Of those, 6 to 7 are likely to become hurricanes, and 2 are expected to become major hurricanes, category 3 or stronger," end quote. We'll have more stories after the break. Stay with us.
It is said that bridges are perhaps the most invisible form of public infrastructure. However, bridges not only connect communities, but they connect people and cultures. Since 2008, the government of Belize has invested in building bridges countrywide. Areas once impassable in times of flooding can now withstand the heaviest rains thanks to the new Kendall Crossing and Santa Elena bridges. The IGUANA Creek Bridge has been rebuilt, and the Balama Bridge has provided much-needed traffic alleviation for Belize City. The Roaring Creek Bridge is being replaced with the HAULOVER Bridge soon to follow. These projects provide employment as we continue to build Belize. The government of Belize, moving Belize forward.
I know my status.
Nenau kiring kaush.
Subuse guatina nungwa. Lida natwadi low seed.
I know my status.
I know my status.
Yo sé mi estado de VIH.
我知道我的状态。
I know my status.
The National AIDS Commission, in collaboration with the Ministry of Health, proudly commemorate the first annual National HIV Testing Day on Friday, June 29, 2018, from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. under the theme Achieving 90-90-90 by 2020. National HIV Testing Day 2018 will be hosted at San Pedro Town, Corozal Town, Orange Walk Town, Belmopan, San Ignacio Town, Dangriga Town, Punta Gorda Town, and Belize City. Come out on Friday, June 29th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at a location near you for free HIV tests, multiple health services, games, and information booths. Know your status.
We know our status, and you can too.
National HIV Testing Day 2018. Achieving 90-90-90 by 2020.
The Belize Intellectual Property Office, BELIPO, opened the week with a seminar on the Patent Corporation Treaty, PCT. Our Belize Now team was there and has the story.
The World Intellectual Property Organization, in collaboration with the Belize Intellectual Property Office, BELIPO, hosted a seminar on the Patent Corporation Treaty, PCT, on Monday, June 4th at the Best Western Belize Biltmore Plaza. While we have heard the term patent used quite a bit, we asked the Solicitor General, Nigel Hawke, to explain what a patent is.
In ordinary terms, a patent is really a new invention that a person seeks to protect, a new creation that a person seeks to protect. The protection of the patent gives you certain exclusive rights to the particular invention, and the direct result of that is that you have exclusive rights to any economic benefit when that patent is registered. Like, for example, if we use Samsung or Huawei Technologies International, those large companies, when they manufacture their cell phones and so on, they register patents in relation to them, and whenever they reap the benefits in terms of profits of those phones, the company benefits.
Through the Patent Corporation Treaty, an international patent system, a patent may be granted protection across over 150 countries for a period of usually 20 years. Therefore, an invention cannot be commercially produced, used, distributed, imported, or sold without the consent of its owner in countries identified by the owner. Hawke explained the system, which is used by major corporations, research institutions, and universities, as well as small and micro enterprises.
What it offers now is registration done locally, but sort of international. So, in effect, the practical effect is that I don't need now to register in each office all around the world if I want to have my patent recognized or filed. But the filing can happen in one jurisdiction, and it will have a domino effect in all the countries that will be part of this particular patent treaty.
So how does a person know if their invention can be patented? The following clip from an animation produced by the World Intellectual Property Organization explains.
And who has more rights, the inventor or the one that files a patent application first?
In most countries, it's the person filing the application. That's why it's important to patent inventions immediately.
I see. Patent applications are extremely important.
And what must an invention have to be worthy of a patent?
Usually there are 3 requirements: novelty, inventiveness, and industrial applicability.
Slow down, please.
First, novelty, or that the invention is unknown. Second, inventiveness, meaning that it is not obvious to those who know the technical field of the invention. Third, industrial applicability. The invention may be produced or used industrially.
For those interested in submitting patent applications for their inventions, the Deputy Registrar for Belaipo, Olabimpe Akinkule, listed the options.
Well, there are two processes or two approaches that can be used. You can come directly to our office where you can fill in the international application, can be submitted to our office, and our office then takes care of transmitting it to the International Bureau in Geneva, Switzerland, or you can just go onto the WIPO website and you can just gain access to the online application and you can submit your application online through WIPO.
If done through the PCT system, the process takes 30 months. Akinkule explained the successive phases the application undergoes during those months after submission.
The moment you submit it goes through WIPO ensures that all the formal requirements are met. Then after that stage, it then goes to one of their international search authorities, who then plays the role of looking at the invention to check that the invention in and of itself is new, has the inventive step, and is industrial applicable. And the ISAs, in short, then produces a report, a search first and a written report, and it details the patentability of the invention itself. So from that moment, the option of if you want further preliminary examination is then something that the applicant must state to the personnel within WIPO. And if you don't want that option, then the designated countries that you have stated within the application that you want specifically grants within those countries or regional offices, then the report and the information of the patent will then be distributed within the national entry.
Along with the benefit of having protection across various countries, the PCT is also cost-effective.
To eliminate the cost process that would have been borne on the applicant or the inventor if that person individually goes to each country or regional offices to register their patent. So this PCT provides more like a inclusive cost, whereby there is the cost within that WIPO is going to be axing. The cost that is being taken into consideration is the transmittal cost, translation cost, examination cost as well, and search cost too as well. So the moment that lump sum has been dealt with, then when it gets to the national entry, then the countries have their own cost.
The PCT also promotes cooperation between contracting states, a feature which has been very beneficial to Belize in addressing one of its major challenges.
We are a receiving office, but we can't do examinations because we don't have the expertise. If you're talking about electrical appliances, if you're talking about pharmaceuticals, we don't have the technical expertise within Belaipo to do that. So we rely on Mexico to assist us with that. Just think for a moment, if we're able to get the type of infrastructure, human resource capacity, we can take more applications, it will bring further revenue for us as a government and so on.
While patents, intellectual property, trademarks, and copyright are not terms new to Belizeans, they remain a buzz as we come to understand their importance and implications. To their end, Hawk says Belaipo will be rolling out more information.
But the important thing is for us to make sure we get the information out to the public so that they will be aware why is it important to register a patent, what a patent is, and it may be that some person somewhere in Belize, in some district, may have a unique invention but doesn't know what to do with it.
Since signing on to the PCT in 2000, Belaipo has received over 300 patent applications for pharmaceuticals, technology, software applications, and hardware. For Belize Now, I am Janelle Mencius.
For more information on patents and the international patent system, you can visit BELIPO's website at www.belipo.bz and WIPO's website at www.wipo.int. Stay tuned for more stories after the break.
It is said that bridges are perhaps the most invisible form of public infrastructure. However, bridges not only connect communities, but they connect people and cultures. Since 2008, the government of Belize has invested in building bridges countrywide. Areas once impassable in times of flooding can now withstand the heaviest rains thanks to the new Kendall Crossing and Santa Elena bridges. The IGUANA Creek Bridge has been rebuilt and the Balama Bridge has provided much-needed traffic alleviation for Belize City. The Roaring Creek Bridge is being replaced with the HAULOVER Bridge soon to follow. These projects provide employment as we continue to build Belize. The government of Belize, moving Belize forward. To enhance and preserve short, medium, and long-term safety, efficiency, climate resilience, and socioeconomic benefits of Belize's national transportation system, the government of Belize, along with the Inter-American Development Bank (IDB), has collaborated with public and private stakeholders to develop the comprehensive National Transportation Master Plan. The CNTMP for short is a holistic document which will guide investments in transportation, lead the full adoption of International Air Transportation Association best practices, guide institutional strengthening of key actors in Belize transportation sector, and much more.
This week, the Department of Labor, the International Labor Office (ILO), and the labor unions came together for a tripartite training workshop on conciliation and negotiation techniques and skills. The objective of this training is to create a better understanding of the techniques employed in the negotiation of a collective bargaining agreement and, more importantly, the management and resolution of conflicts. Carrie Belisle, CEO in the Ministry of Local Government, told us what inspired the coordination of the 4-day training.
The ministry on an annual basis looks at some of the issues that arise during the course of the year. We look at some of our requirements from an international standpoint and the obligations that we have to improving workers and the environment in which workers operate. And you will see also from the media that there are numerous instances where unions and management meet deadlocks. They require the Labor Department to get involved to help to find solutions. And so primarily we felt that where the proper technique and where the capacity to negotiate resides at the level of the unions, resides at the level of management, that it would put them in a best position to engage fruitfully in negotiations and require less input from third parties.
The training is an opportunity for the tripartite representatives to sit in one room to speak on the issues and to hear from professionals from across the region on how to best approach negotiation and mediation on the level of the organizations. The facilitator, Rainer Pritzer, is a specialist of the ILO. He mentioned the significance of the training in his remarks at the opening ceremony.
Only a positive climate, free of or at least minimized labor disputes, can bring about a more productive workforce and contribute to a more solid business climate and lead to economic growth, productivity, and a fair distribution of this economic growth.
The training also featured guest speakers from the Belize Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the National Trade Union Congress of Belize, and the Honorable Hugo Pat, Minister of Labor and Local Government. Yesterday, Thursday, June 7th, the staff and administration of the Southern Regional Hospital celebrated the official inauguration of their new laboratory. The new laboratory comes through partnership from the Probitas Foundation under its Global Laboratory Initiative, a program set up in 2010 with the aim of reinforcing the capacities of clinical diagnostic laboratories in the most vulnerable regions of the world. Speaking at the ceremony, Minister of State in the Ministry of Health, Honorable Angel Campos, spoke of the partnership made possible through UNICEF.
Probitas is a foundation that focuses on the transfer of experience, knowledge, and resources in the health field to the most vulnerable population across the globe. In Belize, this has led to upgrading and equipping the Southern Regional Hospital Laboratory, which caters for the population in Dangriga, Perse, and all surrounding villages, like Santa Teresa Health Center, which is a very remote area and will improve the access to much needed laboratory services, particularly for mothers and children, which represent very vulnerable population group in the ministry. The valuable support provided will enable our able frontline personnel to provide better quality care to enhance capacity to fine-tune diagnosis and enable better screening, as well as provide opportune interventions to those who need it. The Ministry of Health sincerely hopes that we can continue with this valuable cooperation by implementing similar projects in other remote areas.
For Desiree Joseph, lab supervisor at the Southern Regional Hospital, the new laboratory has been long awaited.
The size of the lab is a great improvement. Now we have space for me to segregate and designate each area. For example, we have the chemistry area there. We have hematology, urinalysis. We have parasitology to the back in microbiology. We now have the strengthened capacity to make easier diagnosis of intestinal parasites. We'll have the capability of identifying causative agents of diseases. We'll have increased turnaround in collecting samples in the phlebotomy area. It's been a 2-year journey. As I mentioned, anxiety spread among my staff, it was something contagious. But now that we are here today, we're seeing a way forward.
This morning, the Ministry of Health, along with Probitas and UNICEF, also inaugurated a laboratory in Santa Teresa Village in the Toledo district. And that's it for this edition of Belize Now. If you want to provide feedback or send in your comments, please feel free to email us at info@pressoffice.gov.bz or visit our Facebook page and let us know what you think. We look forward to hearing from you. Have a great week. Until next time.